Occasionally, from time to time, I see the question of if you knew how and when you are going to die, would you want to know? And if you knew in advance when you're going to die, how would that change things? Would you live your life differently? And to answer that question, first of all, would I want to know how I'm going to die? I mean, yeah, because not because I want to protect myself from it, to make it less likely that that's going to be my cause of death and maybe prolong my life, but because I am a person who likes to know things. Why would I not want to know about the very thing that's going to take me out? What if at the moment of my death, I don't know that that is what's going to cost me my life? I feel like I would be missing out on that information, but I cannot let that bother me, considering that when I was born, I really don't have memories of anything in my life up until the age of 4. So how would not knowing how I'm going to die or what cost me my life going to be any different from that? But since I have existed and I have consciousness and memory, I feel like if I'm going to die in a wreck, it would be nice to know that, hey, I died in a wreck. But at the same time, why would it matter if the result of death is the same? You cease to function. Would I want to know when I die? Why not? Because I could look at it as a countdown. We all have things that we keep track of. Whenever we're going to take time off, whenever we hope to, I don't know, if you're engaged or something, get married. Little things like that. If everything has a countdown and can be scheduled, why would you not want to treat death in the same manner? I know that death has a more deep and extreme meaning, but if you're given the choice to know in advance when that's going to happen, why wouldn't you want to know? And then finally, if I were to know when I'm going to die, and let's say that for some reason it's a long time from now, it would give me a sense of relief, because every single day it's all about surviving. Like, I have to go to work so that I make money, so that I can keep a roof and 4 walls and eat relatively well, live relatively comfortably, whatever it means. But if it were to happen in the near future, I would think that I really wouldn't have much of a choice of how I'm going to live my life. Even if I wanted to be like, fuck y'all, I'm going to spend whatever little bit of money I have and do recreational things. I feel like if I were to change my life because I know death is coming, that means I fear death and I'm living fearing death. I think that you should live fearing death all the time and make decisions accordingly. If you feel like you're working yourself to death, you're working too much and not spending time doing your hobbies or seeing your family or whatever, I feel like you may live in a life in which you're not fearing death, because you're thinking, well, every single year that I'm alive, nothing extraordinary happens to where my life changes in a way that I cannot adapt to it or continue it. You take the course of your life as you know it right now for granted. I think that's where the lack of fear of death comes from. Something extreme has to happen, such as you becoming disabled, you getting sick, someone dying, or something like that, to like shake your personal life up enough to where you reconsider some things. Just like the pandemic, a lot of people overnight started to reevaluate the course of their lives because they were forced to be at home and they had more time to think. And I'm thinking that's the kind of thinking that should happen as life progresses, or before your life turns into whatever hectic course it takes. That's what I'm saying. But all in all, if I were to know the exact time of my death, whether it be soon or later, I still think that nothing much would change about my days. But I think if my death were to happen in the near future, I think I would be a little less scared about trying certain things that require me spending money, because I'm very sensitive to that type of thing. It's not like I have the luxury of being able to incur losses or indulge in things mindlessly and have the hope that I'm going to recover quickly, stuff like that. So, in a sense, I would like to think that I would live the same way that I'm living right now, which is not a great way to live, but I wouldn't want to start engaging in irresponsible living and affect those who have a degree of dependence on me. But maybe the news would hit me in such a way that I could dismiss all that and be like, not my problem. I worked for this, so I think I have a right to indulge in it. I'm not sure. It's really difficult to tell right now. Maybe in a couple more years, I'll revisit this question and see how I feel about it. But as of right now, I feel like to answer that question, you just have to live every day like you're scared of death. And the moment that you stop being scared of death, I think that's when you lose perspective. So, me personally, I think about death at least 2 times a day. It's not like I want it to happen because I yearn peace and consistency and stability that I feel like only death could provide these days. But I mean it more as helps keep things in perspective. Because usually some people's lives that change drastically because of a death in their close family, it really helps to put things into perspective and organize some things. Especially people who are heavily dependent on maybe a sole individual or something like that. I think those are the ones who get hit the worst. But maybe those are also the ones who need it the most. I just know that in my family, every time the leader of a household died, that entire lineage just fell apart. So I think that individuals like that clearly did not live fearing death or feeling like it could be possible. Alright, guys, well, that's it from me. Thanks so much for tuning in. Please let me know your opinion on this one because I feel like death is one of those topics that people are never comfortable discussing. And I think it's probably one of the most fascinating topics out there. And I think that, especially since we're all adults here, even if you're not an adult, like as a teen, I was still curious about this stuff. But people always dismiss the topic and always say, don't talk like that, or don't talk about that, or what an awful topic, da 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 da. At some point, you have to just have the guts to have these kinds of topics brought up and deal with it.